Hello, and welcome back to twitch.tv/EpitaphFox, and today we are doing part 3 of Zelda monsters with Pokemon types. Buraboo, welcome. This sounds interesting. I have kittens wrestling at my feet, one little ship in my foot. Oh no, Buraboo, I'm so sorry about your foot. Well, I hope this is as interesting to other people as it is to me. It's definitely a fun exercise in thinking about enemies in one video game and applying the rules of another video game to them. The last time we did this, we stopped at Oracle of Seasons, one of the Game Boy Color Zelda games. The next one we have up right now is Oracle of Ages. I did double check and verify that the list of monsters is actually not the same between both games. There are some differences. So I'm not going to look back and copy the ones that are the same from Oracle of Ages and then Oracle of Seasons. I feel like it would be fun if there were actually some differences, because not only am I looking at the monsters themselves as, oh, what if we apply Pokemon typings to them, but also thinking if these were two opposing Pokemon titles, like Red and Blue version, for example, not only would there be version exclusives, but there might also be typing exclusives to the individual games. I think that'd be really interesting and really cool. So, how this works: I have a spreadsheet to the left, I have zeldadungeon.net to my right. We're gonna just go through. The names of the monsters may not always match one-to-one, so we will just do our best. They separate them into different categories, so we'll just scroll through, and if there are any missing ones, we'll figure it out. Starting with the Armos. Stationary statues that don't do anything unless a switch is triggered. Not all Armos come to life, only 2 ways to defeat these foes. It does mention that they are armored, so I'm willing to give this Steel Rock. Beetle, that's a bug type. The Boreblins, also known as Pig Moblins or Pig Warriors, are a variation of the Moblin. Looks like they come in a variety where they have swords or fire arrows. Now, Boreblin is not listed here, which probably means they are listed in here as Moblins, so we'll just skip it and move on. Buzzblob, that's an electric type. Crow. We have gone over Crow so many times across all of these games. Crows are normal flying. And the Cukeman, grass type. Darknuts. Now, I think typically we've given them like steel or fighting type, but I'm noticing that they have dark in their name. So why don't we give these guys dark fighting type? Fire Pokey, that's a fire type. Geenie, ghost type. Do we have Gapanga Flower? We do! That's a grass type. Keese. I feel like in the past I may have given particular Keese like the dark typing, but they're just bats, right? And my philosophy when doing these is always like, if they're just like a normal animal not normal animal, but if they're an animal attributes to normal typing. That way, Keese are normal flying, just like the crow. Levers. Now, levers are one of those enemies that we tend to, like, swap the typing around depending on the game. Pop out from under the ground, but with a twist of coming out of the water, too. Not only that, but instead of traveling in a straight direction, they can move left and right and up and down at will. Now, it's not really giving us a description of the enemy in terms of its appearance, but it's always been described previously as kind of like this burrowing plant monster. So I'm going to say ground grass. The like-likes, I'm never really ever certain what to classify like-likes as. Sometimes they're very rock-like, other times they're very gel-like. Boomerang will freeze them. Oh, get out of here, pop-up. Goodness me, I don't know what to do with like-likes. I think sometimes I give them just normal typing, other times I've given them, like, poison. You know, because the idea is that a like steals, and I attribute stealing with dark type, we're gonna give dark normal. Lionels, these are centaur lion things. I've given them normal fighting before in the past, or just fighting type. Let's just do fighting type. Here we go. The moblins are a separate enemy in here specifically. It's possible whoever came up with the list that I grabbed for the spreadsheet considered that the moblins and the borblins were the same enemy. But moblins in particular, these guys, they're normal types. Let's see, Octorok. We generally give them water rock type. Looks like in this game, though, they don't really do anything with water, so we're going to just give them rock typing. Pinsir is a bug type. River Zora. Water type. Yeah, just water. Sand crab is crab up here. Water ground. Yeah. Spiny beetle. Now, this is one of those ones where it's like bug type, but then it could also be grass or rock. We've done this distinction in the past before. Bug slash grass rock. We've done this in the past. When enemies have like variants like that, I like to make it actually make sense. Tektites, these guys are... Their whole thing is that they jump around, so I attribute that to flying typing. I guess I could still just give it, rock flying. Or bug flying. Sometimes, depending on the game, we'll give them water flying because they're more common in areas of water. Oh, well, there is specifically water tech type, but they're not included in here. So, you know, we'll indicate flying / bug water. There we go. In the underworld, anti-fairies. Anti-fairy, that's a ghost. We could probably argue ghost fairy, but... Actually, you know what? Yeah. I will argue it, and I will acquiesce. Ghost fairy type. Arm mimic. Whenever you move, they mirror Link's every step. If Link walks up, then they walk down. Mimicry, I have attributed to dark typing in the past. So we're going to make this a dark fairy type. Because we've also included, like, being a trickster with the fairy typing as well. And magic as well. Ball and chain soldier. Very clearly steel. But do we want to include anything else? The fact that they're a soldier makes me think of, like, adding, like, fighting type to it. Yeah, we'll do steel fighting. Bari. These are jellyfish. They charge electricity. That is a water electric type. Beery is also down here. Smaller. Beery do not charge themselves with electricity. So these are just water types. So the Beery will evolve into a Bari and gain the electric type. Bubble, floating skulls with red bubbles floating around the outside of it. They bounce off of the walls and try to bump into Link, causes him damage, and disable the use of his weapons for a limited amount of time. That is a ghost type. It's a floating skull. It's being a trickster. In other games, we might have bubbles that have secondary typings, because they also kind of look like they're, like, made of fire. But we're gonna just leave it as ghost type in this game. Candlehead. Candle. Main article, Kyandokian. What the heck? I kind of want to look that up, but we're gonna just stick with this for now. Candleheads, as clearly expressed by their names, are walking candles. They do some massive damage, but are pretty easy to avoid. At first, that is. To defeat a candlehead, just shoot an ember seed at it from the seed shooter, and it will dart around the room. They do end up moving rather fast, so be sure to avoid it before it explodes. That's a fire type. Chaser. Blade traps are different from the others. It's steel. It's a blade trap, it's steel. Cheep Cheep, that's a fish. That's water type. Okay, so there's no distinction on the fire keys here, so we go back to keys. Flying, and then, like, normal fire. There probably will be, like, another one. Maybe. Floor Master. Annoying enemies that come out of the floor. These monsters only come in blue, and they creep around rooms trying to grab Link. If they are successful in doing so, Link's carried back to the beginning of a dungeon. I always kind of, like, go back and forth with floor masters and wall masters too. They very much seem like dark types to me, but in later games they seem more insect-like. We're gonna go just dark type for this, based off of the description they've given us. Gel, they're Zols, but they're smaller. They're water types, basically. Gibdo. They're mummies. They're undead. We have specifically given them like a ghost grass typing so that they can retain their weakness to fire. Ooh, a guard. Do we have that on here? We do not. Okay, moving on then. Hard hat beetle. I doubt we have. Oh, wow. What do you know? We do. Well, this is like a rock bug, right? Iron Mask. This is a normal steel type. They are incredibly weak to fighting type moves. But it's just like an enemy. Iron Masks are also called hip loops, but we have hip loop and Iron Mask here. What's that all about? Or are they saying hip loop is a Iron Mask without the Iron Mask on it? Not to be confused with Helmasaur from other games. I'm going to say normal steel, and hip loop is just normal type then. Mini Moldorm. Moldorm snakes, simply known as mini Moldorms. I think we've given mini Moldorm bug typing in the past, or maybe like ground bug. Although they're described here as a snake specifically, so maybe we should go normal type. Peahat, that's a grass flyer. Pole's voice. They look like rabbits and hop around the room that inhabit an attempt to bump into Link. Fairly fast whenever they jump, so it's sometimes best to keep moving around the room. I think we've given Pole's voice normal type or like normal fairy, because they're very particular about how they get defeated. Rope, that's a snake. Normal. No. We'll do normal poison. The Shrouded Stalfos. These Stalfos are covered in cloaks and wander around dungeons shooting arrows or wielding a sword. They're skeletons. They're ghost type. Spark, that's electric. Do. Spike beetle. That's a steel bug right there. Then we have the normal Stalfos here, common enemies. Waddle around dungeons, attempt to bump into Link, sometimes annoying in groups. Well, you know what? If the Shrouded Stalfos tend to have, like, bow and arrow or swords, we'll make Shrouded Stalfos ghost fighting. And the Stalfos are just ghost types. Wall Masters. These guys are dark types. And Wizrobes. Shoot magic beams in straight lines up, down, left, or right. Never shoot diagonally, so standing on a diagonal from them and slashing away is a good way to limit damage. So it looks like it doesn't change the way that they, like, attack, just, like, their health and whatnot. So these guys are fairy types. And the Zol. Zols are water types. They are slimes. Alright, back up to Beamos. Bimos are small statues that have an eyeball that scans the room, and they shoot laser beams. This is a rock psychic type. The different blade traps, the standard ones, those are like steel, right? The giant ones have a skull on them whenever we scroll down to find that. Boulders are rock types, obviously. Obviously. Flying tile. Ground flying. Spike thwomp. Now, I attribute thwomps with rocks, like rock types. But the fact that it's talking about them being spiked makes me want to give the spiked thwomp rock steel. So what did we miss out on? Potobos are, I think they're like a flame trap. Yeah, they're fireballs. They're fire. What else is here that we didn't see? Giant blade trap. We're gonna go dark steel on that. Flying pot. Rock flying. A Deku scrub is a grass type. And Dark Link. Well, I guess you would say Dark Link is a dark fighting type. Or, because the idea is that it's kind of like a mimic, maybe a dark fairy? Or we could just say dark type. But that is Oracle of Ages. Moving on now to Four Swords. And we are getting some updated sprites now. Loving that. Starting off with the Armos. Now, these guys definitely don't look like statues to me anymore. It just looks like an animated suit of armor. These guys are just steel type. Ball and Chain Soldier. Pretty standard. This is your steel fighting type. Helps if I spell it correctly the first time. Bob-omb. Now, sometimes I always want to like think about technology as electricity, but a bob-omb is very specifically just like a fire explosion. Because like the comparison is Voltorb and Electrode, right? Those are literal like explosive grenade Pokemon. And they aren't fire types; they're electric types. But the fact that a bob-omb needs specifically to have its wick lit in order to, like, its fuse lit, we're gonna say just fire type on these. Now, it's not listed here. It must have a different name, but Bombarosa. If we look at the actual page, does it say, like, it has another name? No, I'm not seeing any other name listed for it. We will move on then. Bow Moblin, not listed here. Bubble. That's interesting. They're not including stuff like this here. But we do have Bulbul here. I don't know what to make of this thing. Is this like a dragon? Exclusive to Four Swords, a large bulbous creature with a big green jelly-like sphere protecting its body. In order to defeat it, the core must be laid naked by repeatedly slashing at the green jelly. Interesting. Okay. Well, we don't often get the opportunity to give Zelda monsters dragon typings. And the fact that it's kind of like a machine with like this bulbous, like energy shield almost. But also it's very bug-like in its bottom appendages. It's got like claws and that nature. You know what? I'm gonna go dragon bug on this. Why not? Chaser, that's a steel blade trap. Dark Nuts, very much more just like a knight in armor, right? I'm gonna say Dark Nut is dark steel. Igor, they are Cyclops statues. I don't think they shoot anything out. They just kind of like bounce towards you. Rock Psychic. Alright, we don't have Fire Wizrobe specifically, but I bet there's a Wizrobe towards the bottom. Flying Tile, that is always a ground flying. Gel, always a water. Genie, always a ghost. Gibdo, always a ghost grass. Helmasaur, also known as the hip loops, as we have learned. I am noticing, though, for 4 swords, a lot of the enemy sprite work is extremely similar to Minish Cap. I guess they were able to reuse a lot of assets because of the Game Boy Advance like tile sets and sprite sets. But that is a steel normal. We have the Hikun. I honestly don't know what's up with Hikuns. Oh, okay. It's like a slime with a helmet on. Interesting. Round black enemies, which require 2 links to defeat. First, the Hikun must be struck with a sword, which will cause it to stop moving. Then 2 links must go on each side of the Hikun and pull apart the enemy. Interesting. Okay. So maybe it's not like a slime necessarily, as it is just like mostly this thing. And this is maybe like its tongue moving itself out of it. That's really weird. I don't know what to make of this thing. My instinct is to give it steel because of its helmet. But you know what? It gives me, like, hermit crab vibes, in a way. What should I do? What should I do? This is really like the first one that's ever really stumped me. It's very defensive. Like, the only way to take it out is to basically rip its armor off. So I think we just go, like, steel bug. Because it does give me that hermit crab vibe, which always gives me like bug vibe. Hoarder. Don't know what that's going to be listed under. So for the Wizrobes, we've got fire and ice. That's good to know. Keese. We know already. Moldorm. Moldorm. It's giving me bug vibe. Just from the sprite alone. I don't want to necessarily go into the description of all of them and make my decision based off that. The idea is really just like, what does it look like? It very much just kind of looks like a centipede worm. It's got a little bit of like armor on it or like some spikiness, but I think bug type is just fine for this. The Nokun, it's a Hikun, but it's a Nokun. What's different about them? After Link strikes, it'll curl up into a ball on the ground. You got to pick it up and toss it towards another Link. While being tossed, it'll open its hard shell and will glide back down to the ground. Makes it vulnerable. Interesting. You know what? If the idea is that you gotta throw it and it kind of like holds its shell outward, it gives me flying vibes. This is gonna be steel flying. Octorok, that's a rock type. Piranha. Piranhas aren't on here. Rope, normal poison. Rupee-like. Is that... I was gonna say, is that Rupee Wraith? But no, it's not. Rupee Wraiths are these things. What the heck? They cling onto Link and make him drop rupees. Okay. So otherwise, they're just kind of like they're a ghost. Okay. Spear Moblin, Spike Beetle. We don't have those listed here, so we move on. Stallchild. Did they just think that they were Stalfos? I mean, the ghost. Tektites. They have upgraded. They are now steel flying. The Wizrobes. These are fairy with fire and ice differences. And Zol, ghost. Oh no, not ghost, wow, water. So what did we miss out on? Pseudo Rupee, which I guess is these things. The Rupee likes. Mrs. Epitaph Fox, thank you very much for the splash. Unfortunately, it does nothing, but it does let me know that you're here. Because they are kind of like a trickster, it gives me either dark or fairy vibes. These look like starter monsters. Is it because of the 3 colors? You know, I would give Rupee likes dark bug typing. Because it's a trap, they're trying to trick unsuspecting travelers. Moblins, we didn't necessarily see specifically, but we technically did. Because we saw Bow Moblin, and I think there was another one as well. Spear. Yeah, so the bow and spear there's not really like a difference. I see these guys as just like normal types. Hard hat beetle, I guess, is the spiked beetle. Fin piranha is just piranha. That's dark water. Blade trap. I mean, we didn't see one, did we? A trap. Main article blade trap. That's steel. Anti-fairy is, I guess, the wisps. Now, I would say anti-fairies appear to be more associated with fire based off of the sprites from these games. Like, that is a skull with fire around it. These are not fairy types. This is ghost fire in these games. Alright, but that is 4 swords, and we move on now to 4 Swords Adventures. Armos, they appear to be more like an actual statue this time around. And as a statue, or at very least it could be like a standing set of armor, right? But they also come in like Armos and then Armos Knight form as well. Here we go, we'll center it there. But they, honestly speaking, they don't look like they're made of metal. Since these, to me, appear to really be just, like, statues that move, I'm gonna give them the rock psychic treatment here. I don't see the ball and chain trooper on here just yet, but maybe we will find them. I guess Chain Chomp would be Bow Wow. And I mean, it's an iron ball that has a mouth and teeth and eyes. It's a steel type. Cheep Cheep fish, that's water. Dead Rock. What the heck is a Dead Rock? Is that supposed to be like a Dodongo? I don't want to open up their individual pages. This thing, if it's like a dinosaur thing, Dead Rock, it's got dead in the name, makes me think ghost type, but otherwise it kind of just looks like a dinosaur. I'm gonna give it rock type. Devilant gives me like pincers sticking out of the ground type vibes. This is a bug type. Igor, it's rock psychic. Actually, you know what? This one, it actually looks like it has moving legs and arms. It's less so a statue that just kind of hops forward. This one looks like it walks towards you, like it's a rock cyclops instead of like a rock statue of a cyclops. I'm just gonna give it rock type. Floormaster, that looks dark to me. No question about that. Flying Tile, we already know. Force Gem Mimic. I guess that's what this thing is. I remember the Force Gems are kind of like a collectible in the Force Swords games. So this is like, you go up to pick it up and all of a sudden it pulls out a sword and shield and attacks you. That's a fairy type. Frost Air Larva. What? We're gonna have to come back to some of these. Geldman. That's like a mudman, right? That's ground. Genie, ghost. Giant Genie. It's still a ghost. Like, there's nothing special about it. Goma. That looks like a bug. That's like a beetle. Hard hat beetle. Rock bug. Hinox. Now here we go. This is a Cyclops type of actual monster here. Hinox is very huge, very muscly. I would classify Hinox in the normal fighting category. Keese. Easy. Levers look much more plant-like now. Grass. Octorok, rock type. Pentagore is a penguin. I always want to associate penguins with the ice typing. So I'm going to say normal ice. Rat, normal. River Zora, that's a water type. Rope, normal poison. Sand crab, oh, well, we'll go back up and get those. No sea urchin here, but we finally have Shadow Lynx very specifically. Not only listed in the enemies, but also included in the enemies. Shadow Link, very obviously, it's a dark type. No slime. We do have Stalfos here, though. That's a ghost type. I cannot type today, jeez. Tektites, to me, in this game in particular, look more bug type than anything, so we'll go bug flying on these. Terror Pin, these are your, like, turtle monsters. You usually have to attack them to flip them on their back. The shell does play a big role in it. I'm gonna say for this one, maybe like a rock normal. Thief, that's a dark type. Vulture, dark flying. Wizrobe, that's a fairy type. Slime, I guess, is what Zol is. Water. Likes. I wonder if he thought that these things were the likes. The Popo. Oh no, he Force Gem-like. That's what it is. Fairy Bug. Hyrule Guard is probably the soldier. Saw it down here. These guys, they're fighting types. Frost Air Larva. That was, Frost Eyes. So maybe the Frost Eye, like, has little larvae. I mean, just because of the frost, it makes me think that it's ice typing, right? Yeah, here we go. They Frost Eyes are created by the boss of the stage, Frost Air. I'm gonna give it ice flying. Flying pot. We almost never see it included on the actual like list of like traps or anything. But I've always attributed a flying pot with a flying rock type. Crab, it's the sand crab. Groundwater. Anti-fairy, we didn't see what they could be referring to as that. We'll scroll through again just in case, but I'm not keeping my hopes high. Maybe the bubbles, that would make sense. These ones in particular look more Ghost Fairy than Ghost Fire. Ball and Chain Trooper. Did we see anything that would make sense with that? Maybe Bomb Knight? We've typically given Ball and Chain Trooper steel fighting. So we'll list it there. But that is Four Swords Adventures, and we are finally getting to a Zelda game that I have actively played and will probably know like all of the enemies just from looking at them. It's taken us a long time, but we finally made it. There we go. That's centered there for the most part. Boko Baba. It's a grass type. Without question. The Bokoblins? These guys are just kind of like your normal little thuggish, thiefy guys. Now, would I say that they qualify as dark types? I don't know. I mean, like, they're kind of just like these regular, like, Beastie Boys, right? Normal. Choo-choos, they come in a wide variety. But I think really the only distinction is that some of them are electric type. And the purple or black ones, you need to actually like freeze them with light to make them statues, otherwise they can't be killed in any capacity. Otherwise they're very jelly-like in this game, which gives me credence to the water typing, so I would say water. And then there's also electric variety, but also I would say dark typing for the shadow ones. Otherwise, they're just like their color variants. They change how they fight in particular. So I think it's the red and green ones are your like typical just like regular water ones. Blue and yellow have the electricity field with them, and then the shadow ones are the dark ones. Okay. Common enemy. Okay. That was a small list there, but okay. Dungeons. I guess this is where we're going to find the majority of monsters, right? Darknut. Here we go. Darknuts come in 3 varieties, but I'm guessing this one right here, the third one right next to the fire keys, is what the Mighty Darknut is. Unless there is a specific, like, Mighty Darknut listed here, I do not see one. Yeah. Okay. So that being said, like, these regular Darknuts, then. I mean, they're steel types. There's really nothing else to them. I guess you could say fighting type as well. But for the Mighty Darknut, we will give him a special distinction of Steel Dark. Dexivine. I don't know where that is. We're gonna just move on. You know, I'm going about this like the complete opposite way that I normally do. What am I doing here? Let's back up and just go down the list proper. Kargarak. Now this is Ganon's bird, the one that steals Link's sister in the very beginning of the game. Maybe because of being such in close influence with Ganon, we could say it's a dark flying type, but otherwise it's just a normal bird. It's a giant, whatever they're called. I forget what their name is. Oh, I know. Kargarak is the regular bird. Helmarak is Ganon's thing. So these guys are just the annoying jerks who fly around and beat you up. Normal flying. Mini Blins. Now these guys are weird. They're like imps, and there's an endless amount of them. Whenever you come across them in the game, it's always just you fight them until they stop coming. Otherwise, they just keep coming at you. That gives me Dark Fairy vibes. P-hats, we already know. Rats, they sometimes come with bombs, but otherwise it's just they run around. The rats in this game, though, they will steal your rupees. So I'm gonna say normal dark. And real bomb chew, we're gonna say normal fire. Okay. Next list. Great Sea enemies. Warships. I mean, it's a literal evil boat with a cannon on it, right? there's really not too much to them, I would say. Water fire? Water fire. Big Octo. The big Octos are presented as a cataclysmic, what is the word? Oh my god. Cataclysmic enemy. You just are approaching an area, and all of a sudden they come out of the water and you're suddenly in a whirlpool, and if you get too close to it, it sucks you up and spits you out miles away, and you take a ton of damage. I would say that falls in dark water category. Georgs. These are the sharks. I would I guess classify them along with dark water. The regular Octoroks, I would say I would classify as water rock. And sea hats. Water flying. Now we can go into the dungeon enemies. Armos. These guys are just little statues that move towards you. I'm feeling rock psychic on the Armos. In these games. Beamos, they come in two varieties, but they are not so much creatures anymore, are they? And they're not even on my list, so never mind. Bubbles. They are floating skulls with little, smoke that passes out of them, and there's a red version and a blue version. The red one, I think, does set you on fire, though. This incarnation does not jump out of lava to attack Link. Instead, they slowly float around until they notice him, at which point they chase Link around. They can be defeated with a ranged weapon. The cursed blue flames of the blue bubble steal the power away from all of your attacks. Bubbles can easily be blown away by the Deku Leaf. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they light you on fire, the red ones do. And then the blue ones, they just kind of curse you. So, with that in mind, I will say Ghost, and then Fire or Fairy. Yeah, let's do that. Dexavine. We don't have Dexavine in here. Moving on. Floor Master. Floor Masters, those are dark types, without question. The Keys, I believe there is also Ice Keys in the game as well. I could be mistaken. There could only just be Fire Keys. So, normal and fire or flying. Oh wait, no, I have that in the reverse. They're always flying types. With normal and fire. Magtail. These are fire bugs. Moblins. I mean, again, like this just goes into the Bokoblin territory. They're normal type. I don't know what this means about Moblin statue. Morth. I mean, Morths are these little, like, just like urchin things. I would attribute them to like bug poison. Mothulas, though, creepy things. I would say that they have like bug flying as like a baseline, but you could also argue that the like absolute like massive one is dark, but at its core, bug flying. The Poes, they are just ghosts. Nothing special about them on that. Redead, also ghost types. Stalfos, usually come with giant clubs. I would give them ghost fighting. Oh, here's Dexavine. I don't know why it's all the way down here, though. But these are the, they're just, like, little vines that if you walk past them, they hold on to you, and you have to, like, struggle to break free, otherwise you just cut them down. They're not really, like, an enemy, I would say. These are just grass types. Still don't know what the Moblin statue is. But we have 2 different iterations of Wizrobes. I don't really know the difference too much. I just know that their primary attack is shooting fireballs. So these guys are Fire Fairy. What is the Moblin statue? Moblin bust. Moblin shaped statues that serve as traps. Oh, these are the ones that shoot lasers. Oh. I always remembered that there were like laser traps, but I never saw that it was coming from a Moblin statue. Okay, well that's rock psychic then. And that's Wind Waker. Man, we are flying through these. Ah, one of my favorite games coming right up. Minish Cap. Ooh, and for this they decided to use the minifigurines as the sprite works. That's cute. That's clever. I like it. Acro Bandits. I never knew they were called Acro Bandits. I always thought they were just moles. I'd be willing to give them like ground. Acrobat makes me think of flying, but it's really just that they like maneuver in the air rather than doing like actual like aerial tricks. And honestly, it's like they don't even do that. They kind of just tower up, and you are the one who knocks them down. These are just ground type enemies then. Armos. These statue robot looking things. These are steel types. Ball and Chain Soldier. Steel fighting as always. The Black Knight. No, we're moving on from that. Bob-ombs. Fire. Now we actually have Bombarossa in here now. I would say Bombarossa is more of like a steel variety. Steel fire. Boulders, rock types. Business Scrub, grass type. Chaser, that's steel. The Choo-Choos, they come in the three colors again, with the blue ones being electric. Water, and then with a electric variant. Cloud Piranha. Water flying. The crows. Now the crows in Minish Cap are more associated with stealing your items. So we have dark flying crows finally. The Igor statues. Rock Psychic. Floor Masters. Dark type. Genie. Ghost. Gibdo. Ghost Grass. Steel Normal. Wizrobes have an ice version. The Keaton are Thief Beasts. Normal Dark. Peace. Normal Flying. Lakitu. These guys attack with electricity in this game, I think, right? They throw lightning bolts, yeah. Electric flying. The levers, they more appear as like steel things that pop out of the ground. So ground steel in this game. Likes they appear to be more like bug-like, in my opinion, in these games. It almost kind of looks like it's like a a giant worm that's already coiled up, and it's moving towards you as its coil. Moblins, Matterpillar is not on here. Here's Moblin. Moblins, normal. Mold Worm. Oh, these are the guys that, like, when you're tiny, they'll, like, pop out of the ground and move towards you, and if they eat you, they, like, cover you in mud or something. So they are ground bug. Mulldozers are, like, the weird beetle things. Octoroks, rock type. Peahat, grass flying. Pesto, that's the name of those little Yanma bug things, and sometimes they drop, like, mud balls on you or dung balls. I didn't know they were called Pesto. That's cute, actually. They're bug flying. Potobos isn't there. Puffstool. I mean, they're mushrooms, so they're grass, right? But is there anything else special about them? Not really. They just kind of, like, spread their spores. They're grass types. Rock choo-choos are in here. We can go ahead and add to the choo-choo. Rock variant. Rollabites. Those guys are bugs. Rope. Normal poison. Scissor beetle, I would say, is a bug. Well, I mean, it's bug for the beetle, but, like, the scissors, the pincers that they have, they will throw them out as, like, boomerangs. So, steel bug. Slugula. That's, it's not a bug. Like, are slugs considered bugs? Slugs are not bugs. Slugs are mollusks. Snails, clams, and oysters. Well, let's give it, water normal typing, then. Spark, that's electric. No question about that. Spiked beetle, steel bug. Spiny choo-choo. Oh yeah, those ones. So, choo-choos. So they're water, but there's also electric, rock, and steel variety. Stalfos. Ghost. Jakuri. Oh, these are... Jakuri are the crows that steal. Oh, we gotta change crow now. Jeez. Traps. They're steel. And Wizrobes. Now, there was specifically a ice Wizrobe, wasn't there? There was. So, fairy. Ice. Now, they very specifically didn't include a lot of monsters, or we skip past them because they're listed as other things. So let's go back through and see if we can find them here. Rupee Wraith. What would that be considered? They must mean the rupee likes. Like, I can't think of it meaning anything else. Dark bug. And there was spiny beetle. I don't know why I skipped over it. Well, I guess the spiny beetle isn't really steel typing. We'll just call it bug. It's fine. What did they mean by Podobo? We already know, like, Podobo is like the fire stuff, so maybe it's just not listed in this article here. Moldorm. Ah, get out of here. Really? You're not gonna... Okay. Bug. Flying pot. That's rock flying. Beetles, those are bugs. And they were actually in here. I skipped over them somehow. Anti-fairy. I don't recall anti-fairies in Minish Cap. In the Minish Cap, oh, they just look like these things. Okay. I don't think there's anything else in this game. Wallmaster, I mean, they're dark types. It's the same as the Floormaster. They're just not listed here for some reason. Alright, we definitely have time for this next game. Twilight Princess. And hopefully we don't have as much trouble. There we go. Starting all the way down at D for the common monsters. Dekubaba. Grass type. Keese. Normal flying. Rats. Normal type. Bokoblins, shooting all the way up. They're not in alphabetical order for some reason. Normal. Bulblin. What's the difference between Bulblins and Bokoblins? Well, they're uglier, that's for certain. Most common enemies, they attack Link with clubs and are also the weakest type of Bulblin. Ooh. I don't get it. I mean, they seem like Bokoblins, but just like a different variety of them. Red and purple variant. They're basically the same enemy, just that Bulblins carry clubs and Bokoblins carry swords and also clubs. To separate them, I'm gonna give Bulblins normal fighting, because they come with bow and arrow variants. Tektites. Bug flying. Now the Choo-Choos in this game, or the Chews in this game very specifically, they are called Chews and not Choo-Choos, are slug-like slimes. And they also come in like a variety of colors, but I don't think they have like different properties of their colors necessarily. I think like most of them, like you can get like the Chew jelly from them, you can bottle them up. And it's like a potion, or I think the yellow ones you can get like lantern oil from. I think they're just water types. I don't think we need to distinguish, like different colors have different whatevers. The Imp Pose. They're ghosts in this game. I mean, as always. I mean, they're ghosts in every game as a Poe. But I would say that they're more fairy-like. In like more fairy-like compared to previous iterations, because you need to be in Link wolf form to like sense their location. They've got the lantern and the scythe. I'm gonna give them Ghost Fairy in this game. Arrow foes are not even on the list here. What are these? They're the flying lizard Lizalfos, I guess. They're Lizalfos with wings, which is actually a kind of scary concept. Armos, they are the statues in this game. That's Skyward Sword. Where's Twilight Princess? We do not have a picture of them here. That's fine. They jump around and swing their hammers. Crystal on their back is their only weak point. Yeah. Rock Psychic seems to be the way they usually go nowadays. Baby Goma. That's a spider. It's a bug poison. Berry, those are water electrics. Big Baba, Big Poe. Well, we have Big Baba here, but what even is Big Baba? Oh, it's a Doku Baba, but like a giant one. They have combined with a Deku-like. Ooh, excuse me. I'll give this thing Dark Grass. Sure, why not? Bombfish. Normal fire. Oh, no, why am I normal? No, water. Water fire. Bomblings. Fire. Bubbles are skulls with wings in this game. I will give them Ghost Flying. Chillfos. Now, are these specifically ice skeletons, or what are they? Humanoid enemies appear to be made entirely of ice. Okay, they are ice types. Chew worm. What the hell is a chew worm? They look weird. Small worm-like enemies that hide in a protective bubble made of chew jelly. In that state, they are impervious to Link's attacks. To defeat them, he must either burst the bubble or pull the chew worm out of its bubble. Okay, so it's a worm enemy, but they use chew jelly as like a shield. Water bug? We got the Dark Nuts here. These guys are very specifically just like armored enemies. Dark steel all the way. The Denalphos. These are kind of like your Lizalfos enemies, basically. Heavily armored, much more difficult to defeat. They attack with hand axes, but also with their tails. Oh, they're actually specifically in this game spelled with the Y. That's weird. These are steel fighting Pokemon. Fire Toadpoli. Fire types, obviously. Freezard, ice types. Ghoul Rat. Ghoul Rat gives me, like, undead rat vibes. Normal ghost. The Helmosaurus. Yeah, it looks very scaly. I'm willing to give this thing, dragon typing. We don't often get the ability to do so. Give the dragon typing out. So you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. Helmosaurus will be a steel dragon. Ice Bubble. Oh, excuse me. Mini Freezard is ice. A Redead Knight. Ghost Steel. Poison Mite is up here. Poison. We don't even need to give it bug typing. I think just Poison Mite suits for poison alone. Shellblade. These are like clams with iron teeth. Water Steel. Skullfish, Water Ghost. Stall Child is not listed in here, so Stalfos. Ghost. Fighting. Stall Troop? What's a Stall Troop? Alright, so they're armored skeletons, very specifically. So these guys can be the Ghost Steel types. Chaos Lord, welcome in, welcome! Hey, hey, how's it going? Tile Worm, that is a ground bug if I ever saw it. Thank you for redeeming first! Todo. That looks like it's just a water type. So I'm guessing Toadpoli is the water Toadpoli. The fire one we just gave fire typing, but should they be like normal and then with the variant? Yeah, let's do that. And Young Goma is not listed on here, so we will move on without that. Unless it's listed under another name somewhere. Bomb Skit. Now, what's the difference between a Bomb Skit and a Bombling? I'm doing very good, thank you. How about yourself? We're just going through the list of all of the mainline Legend of Zelda games and attributing all of the monsters' Pokemon typings. Bomb Skit. Small creatures having a head with 2 eyes connected to 2 long and lanky legs. Most items can kill it with 1 shot. They generally do not attack Link, but rather only fight if Link approaches them. They're more of an obstacle than an enemy. They drop bombs if Link approaches them. Once it's been defeated, it leaves behind a worm. And you can collect those with empty bottle for fishing. Finished washing your car. Very nice. Feels good to be productive on a Sunday. Alright, so these guys are very much like insect coded. So we will say, because they drop the bombs, but they're like worms on the inside, fire bug. But now I need to know, what the heck is a bombling? Bomblings cannot climb up walls. You can pick them up and use them as a bomb when you do not have a bomb bag. The enemies attack by ramming their heads at Link. If Link holds them, they may explode. So this kind of gives me actually like grass fire vibes. Should I watch Fox's stream? Yesterday would have been a yes, but today it's a yep. I mean, if you asked yesterday, I would not have been streaming yesterday. It would have been a asking in advance. We haven't seen the 8-ball being used as much these days. It used to be one of my most, like, used, what's it called, commands in my streams. Looks like I'm stuck in here. To be fair, Chaos Lord, we're gonna be ending in like 20-ish minutes or so. Oh no, like half an hour. No, and every flavored jelly bean. Let me get my cheat sheet out. So I have the list of all of the like the flavors to match the colors here. So I can at least like have an idea of what I might be getting into. We have pulled out a red speckled one. Red with some speckles on it. Which means that it could be cinnamon, it could be earthworm, it could potentially be cherry, but I doubt it. So, cinnamon or earthworm. Ugh. Oh my god. I'm pretty sure that was Earthworm. That has definitely been the worst tasting one yet. Oh my god. Ugh. Earthworm, I'm assuming from that reaction. It just... There was like a moment where it was just like a bad bitter flavor. And then it was like, wait, is that like a dirt kind of like experience or sense going on? Bitter and dirty. Ugh. Hey, congrats on getting the Galarian Rapidash, though. Ugh, God. Worst one yet. Ugh. It's a very nice looking Pokemon. I like the like leaning in that they did on the unicorn aspect of Rapidash. Oh, that was awful. Ugh. Ugh. Gwei, they're like seagulls, aren't they? Appearing more like an actual bird and having more of a twisted enemy design. Closely based on a vulture and bright blue eyes. We can give Gwei's just normal flying here. You're 22% of the way through. I've never looked at my Pokedex. How close am I? 5%. Nice. You have caught over 100 more than I have. Hylian Hornet, those are bug poison. King Bulblin is not listed here. Probably because he's a boss rather than a monster. Same with Phantom Ganon, it looks like. But Puppet is here. You should set up a button when you see it in chat. Just do Pokecatch. I probably should. But that also requires effort, and I'm very lazy. Wooden puppets who float across the ground to attack Link. These guys, they're like grass enemies. You know, I'd be willing to give them like dark grass. And Skull Kid is not listed in here. I guess because he might be considered a boss. And the person who made the list that I copied from my spreadsheet, I think they were focusing less on bosses and more on regular monsters. Alright. Shadow Beast. Pretty standard, normal, dark enemies. Shadow Insect is next, and these guys are... They always seem to me like they were, electric. No, there's no mention of electric, so... Dark Bug it is. Let's maybe LP92. Lazy, eh? But you're spending time thinking about Pokemon types for Zelda monsters. Also, good morning.
Huh? A text message.
Chaos Lord, thank you so kindly for the 25 bits. You are the greatest, as the gift says. Well, let's maybe LP92. If I was streaming for 2 hours for the intent of, like, making a macro on my keyboard for Poke-catching, then I wouldn't feel like I was being lazy. Similar to how, like, I'm doing this for my stream, so I don't feel lazy doing this. It's, taking time out of my free time to do those that I'm like, I'm lazy, I don't want to do that. You know what, I should go back because, like, they're not separately listed for the different enemies. Don't forget the second redeem. What's the second redeem? Oh, for second and third. If you want to. Some people like doing those. I really should just... I was lazy when I made that. Thank you for redeeming second. I was lazy when I made that, so I just made it like one individual thing. I should really make them separately. So it very specifically says, I'm first, I'm second, I'm third. Or I could continue to be lazy and not change it. Bulblins. We could say that they are fighting types. And they have a normal or dark variant. Oh, looking at all of your copper, I see. Now, I will say as well, another use of copper, aside from the store, is the game commands. There are several different commands that cost copper pieces to use. I wouldn't recommend using any of them today because I'm not playing a game. You could spend one stream to do that while just chatting, just saying. I could. I probably should. There's a lot that I could do and should do. When I was playing some games earlier this week, I was like, you know what, I really want to get back to giving Zelda monsters Pokemon types. I don't really want to play a game this Sunday. But, you know, maybe it wouldn't be that bad to have some more just chatting streams every once in a while. I'm sure, you know, some people enjoy watching me play video games and getting frustrated at things and voice acting game lines terribly. But I'm sure also there'd be an element of people just wanting to kind of like sit and chat about anything and nothing while I work away at stuff that I'm too lazy to do other times. What was I doing? The Shadow Kargarok, so we have flying with normal and dark separations. The keys are kind of the same thing here. Shadow Vermin. I guess that's the Twilight Vermin. What the heck are these? Small black creatures that can move on land and on water. Fairly annoying, not much of a threat. Groups of them can be difficult. I feel like just like water dark, maybe. Shadow Dekubaba. Xant's Head and Xant's Mask, which are included here for some reason. Third and fourth finger are shorter than humans' hands. They try to take soul away from Link whenever he tries to take one. They can be slowed down but can't be killed. Interesting. I mean, I guess they're just dark types. Basically an enlarged head resembling of Xant's armored mask that guard their master by shooting small purple orbs of twilight energy at Link. Unlike his sword, arrows shot at Xant Mask will ricochet off of their metal body, so steel dark. Alright. Traps. Beamos. I assume they work the same in Twilight Princess as all of the other Zelda games. They come in a brown and white variety. Oh, interesting. They are very specifically indicated as shooting fire beams. Okay. Well, you know what? Since they're very specifically different from previous game iterations, instead of doing our normal rock psychic, I'd be willing to give these things rock fire. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the color variety changes too much. It's really just like, depending on its location, if a white pillar is better than a brown pillar. Blade Trap, I don't think is even on here, so we don't have to worry about it. Deku-like? What the hell is a Deku-like? Similar to like-likes, if Link falls into one of these plants, he will lose a heart. Remains stationary, cannot be defeated with sword, needs to be a bomb into their maw to kill it. Okay, I would give it Dark Grass. Do we have Spiked Roller by any chance? No? Okay. Baba Serpent. Okay, so this is the head of a Deku Baba having been released from its roots, and it can chase after you. Unfortunately, I think that still just makes it a grass type. Is Bulbo on here? Nope. But Dodongo is, and we have categorically given Dodongos, or at least the big Dodongos, like dragon typing. Otherwise, they're just dinosaurs, so they're rock typing. Helmasaur, that is a steel type. Well, steel normal, I would say. Normal. Keese also have an ice variety, it says. Levers are grass types. Grassus. We already have the Kagorok, or Kargoroks listed here. Lizalfos. Dragon. They're lizards. They're dragons. Barely have any armor, only have a pitiful shield. Yeah. We'll give him dragon, it's fine. The Moldorms. We've typically given Moldorms bugs, bug typing. Because they're basically just worms, right? Worm-like enemy buries itself beneath the desert sand. Yeah, it's a ground bug. So Keese are like Rotoms in a sense. Honestly, yeah. Keese tend to be the most common enemy that are interchangeable with a lot of different elements. I think there's also instances in Zelda games where it'll be a normal Keese that flies into a torch and then becomes a fire Keese, because the distinction is that the Keese is either on fire or it's not. Oh, big stretch. Skullchilla. I mean, they're spiders, so I guess they're inherently poison. I'd give them poison bug. Stallhound. Now that's interesting. Stallhound, I would say like just ghost type, but there's something very specific about it that I feel like we need to investigate. Dog-like skeletons, similar to stall children from Ocarina of Time. Now imagine someone made a Pokemon game with all of these Zelda monsters instead. Let's maybe LP92, that is my dream. When Super Mario Mon came out, the ROM hack for Emerald that basically completely turned Pokemon Emerald into a actual like Mario experience with Mario monsters with Pokemon mechanics. I had already been like wanting someone to make a Zelda Pokemon game, but now I'm like thinking it might actually be real. Now I know that there is one already. I think it's on like a Fire Red ROM hack specifically, and from what I've researched into it, and to be fair, it was a very long time ago that I looked into it, and even then I didn't look that far into it. It wasn't completed, and it also just wasn't very good. Like, it was very much like someone deciding, I'm going to do this, and then like figuring out partway through that they were in over their head, which is a bit of a shame, but I want that game so badly. A Pokemon game with Zelda monsters instead of Pokemon, with the Zelda characters being like the NPCs, and it's what I want. Someone out there, whoever's listening, if you make games, make this. For me. For anyone else too, but specifically for me, please. Stallhound, I guess, can just be ghost. I just feel like they're being a hound specifically. It should be something more, like maybe like normal ghost. Torch Slug. Now, typically we've given slug enemies water typing, but this is very specifically a torch slug. So it's like more lava than it is water. So I guess we could just give it fire typing. There's nothing wrong with that necessarily. Wallchilla. What's the difference between a Wallchilla and a Skullchilla? Small spiders hang around vines. I'm not really getting anything from... You know, I'm gonna say if Skulltulas are bug poison, Walltulas are just bug types. And the White Wolfos, that is a ice normal Pokemon. Now, did we miss anything? Stalkin, which must be like the Stall Child. I don't know where we saw those. Here we go. Stall Child or Stalkin. If we said Stalfos are ghost fighting, then Stalkin are just ghost. Closest we have is a slowly being worked on Zeldamon ROM hack. One day it will come to fruition. One day. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there will have this idea that they work on, or they're like, man, I wish someone out there just like went through and assigned Pokemon typings to all of these Zelda monsters so I can just reference their work, and my work out there can be like found as a resource or something. I don't know. Honestly, though, like, I feel like if someone were to do it, they should probably use monsters from one of the more recent Zelda games. Like a Breath of the Wild specific, using those enemies, because there's, like, all of the different elemental affiliations for the different monsters. So you could have, like, in terms of evolution, for example, you could have, like, your standard monsters of Lizalfos or Keese, for example. And there's the three elemental types in the game, electric, fire, and ice. You could use the elemental evolution stones on them to create those variants of them. Or you make them completely separate Pokemon entirely, and it's just based off of where you find them in the world. Where was I? Stalkin. Red Bubble. I didn't see bubbles in here. Well, we found ice bubbles, but what's red bubble? Oh, fire bubble. Okay, well, I mean, like, that's... It's the same thing. It's all the same. What did we say? For bubble up here, we said, like, ghost or ice. But they have very specifically red bubbles separate for some reason, and I don't know why they do this. It's fire ghost. No, fire ghost, not ghost ghost. Looking at total conversion Pokemon fan game, some is working on a Pikmin one. Ooh, that would be fun too. That would be really fun. Pygmy Skulltula. What? What did they mean by Pygmy Skulltula? Smaller versions of Skulltulas. These creatures hang from thin webs when Link attempts to jump over a gap. They drop down from above and harm the hero if he leaps into them. Okay. They can be just bug types then. Phantom Rider. What? What? Phantom Rider? Could that be Phantom Ganon? During the horseback Ganon boss fight, Ganondorf summons Phantom Ganons that try to knock Link off of Epona. However, they can easily be avoided or attacked. I think that's what that's supposed to be. No photo available. I guess they're just ghost types then. I don't see anything special about them. P-hats. We didn't see them in here for some reason. But we already know what P-hats are. Resemble plants. Yeah, they're all the same. Grass flying. All right. So we have successfully completed how many? Oracle of Ages, 4 Swords, 4 Swords Adventures, Wind Waker, Minish Cap, and Twilight Princess. We did 6 games this time. That's awesome. That's the most we've done in a single stream of this. And I think it really helps us that I'm getting better at recognizing some of the monsters from the previous times we've looked at them and like investigated how they were in previous games. I am kind of bummed that we're getting like monsters on these lists that aren't on our list on the spreadsheet, like the Aerolphos. I kind of wish that I went the less lazy route and got the list directly from zeldadungeon.net. When I got the list that I'm using for the spreadsheet, I saw on Reddit someone had just listed out all of the enemies, according to them, for all of the different games. And I just copied that list. And, like, thank you for doing that, whoever you are, but there have been differences that have been making it more lengthy of trying to figure things out. Now, I will say, what do we got left? Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Skyward Sword, A Link Between Worlds, Breath of the Wild, which for some reason they only listed 17. I don't know why. I feel like there's a lot more than 17. And then Tears of the Kingdom. I had to make this list on my own. Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom had not come out yet by the time the person from Reddit made their list, so I had to make the Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom lists on my own. So Breath of the Wild will go really quickly, considering he only listed 17 individual enemies. But we've got 7 games left to do. Honestly, I could have, like, combined some of these. Like, Flux Constructs 1, 2, and 3, there's really not going to be a difference between those. Captain Constructs and Soldier Constructs. So maybe those will actually go by pretty quickly in comparison. Echoes of Wisdom has 98. But we're almost there. 7 games left. I would imagine, theoretically, we could complete doing this for all of the games in 2 more streams. When I will be doing those 2 streams, who knows? They're kind of just, if I feel like it, I'll do it. But that is going to be it for me for today. Thank you so much to everyone who hung out today. Let's Maybe LP92, Chaos Lord 1223, and also thank you for the bits as well. It was so kind of you. Mrs. Epitaph Fox, of course. Was anyone else here that I saw? Burrowboo right at the very beginning of stream. It was so nice to have you here. As well as anyone else who may have been lurking or otherwise. I really greatly appreciate you all. But that's going to be it for me for today. Oh, who is this stranger? Got here just in time for the wave. West, thank you so much for popping in. I'm sorry you're coming in right at the tail end here. But looking ahead, I don't know what game I'm going to be streaming on Tuesday. I'm still kind of in my, I'm calling it the summer of BS, quote unquote, but it's really just, the July of BS. Because starting in August, I don't know exactly when, but around August, I'm going to be starting to play Tunic. A very fun, action, adventure, role-playing game. I'm sure you've heard of it, and if not, enjoy the surprise that it will be. I have seen some Let's Plays of it, so it's not a fully blind experience, but there's only so much you can learn and recall from that game, because the majority of the time when you're playing the game, you need to be actively playing to understand, like, what you're doing. I could watch a million playthroughs of it and still have trouble playing it because of how the gameplay is. And I'm looking forward to just experiencing it firsthand myself. I also don't think I've ever really, like, seen the ending properly as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing that, experiencing it for myself, and interpreting it in my own way, because the game is basically all interpretation. I'm looking forward to that as well. So that'll be it for me for today. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, and goodbye.